Looking to find the best PlayStation VR 2 games available on Sony's new headset? Here's our full list of the top 25 best PSVR 2 games for PS5. At launch in February 2023, PSVR 2 came running through the door with a fairly hefty library of VR games and exclusive titles. It's only getting bigger too, with more games launching every week and many more to come. Since launch, we've been trying out as many PSVR 2 experiences as possible to put together our list of the best options across the entire library. Across the list, we've tried to represent a wide range of titles from different genres, showcasing the best picks in each and ranking all 25 games in ascending order. There's some obvious picks and first-party exclusives you might expect to make an appearance, but there's also a pleasant selection of hidden gems from indie developers as well. Some of the games are also available on other platforms such as Quest 2 or the original PSVR, but offer improved visuals and other upgrades on PSVR 2. Without further ado, here are our picks for the best PSVR 2 games available right now. Number 25. Rez Infinite. Originally a PSVR launch title, Rez Infinite is back once again. Featuring the original game's full campaign mode and Area X level, it remains as gorgeous as ever on PSVR 2. That's boosted further by eye tracking for tracking and aiming at enemies, alongside haptic feedback support from the headset and controllers. Number 24. Tetris Effect. Tetris Effect, Connected reimagines the classic arcade puzzle game into an immersive sensory experience, featuring a full campaign in several game modes, as well as online multiplayer. On PSVR 2, Tetris Effect features uses headset haptics, eye tracking and sense controller haptics to increase the immersion and bring you closer to feeling the indescribable Tetris effect. Number 23. Puzzling Places. One of the best puzzle games in VR is now available on PSVR 2 with 120 FPS support, eye tracking support, haptic feedback support, and a 1,000-piece puzzle. A 3D jigsaw game, Puzzling Places recreates worldwide iconic landmarks like Thailand's Chiang Rai Blue Temple through realistic miniatures, letting you choose puzzles usually ranging from 25 pieces to 400. Thanks to regular free and premium updates, expect support to continue for a long time. Number 22. Zenith, The Last City. For MMOs fans, Zenith, The Last City is the clear frontrunner on PSVR 2. The game was a massive success when it launched in early 2022, and since then it's received a multitude of content updates and overhauls to existing systems, now featuring a new player onboarding experience and brand new areas to explore. On PSVR 2, it features eye tracking mechanics for aiming and locking on during combat, alongside haptic feedback from the Sense controllers and headset.
I would rather die fighting than live in fear. Wouldn't you?
Number 21. Tentacular. One of the hidden gems on the Quest platform, Tentacular is now available on PSVR 2 and looks better than ever. This wonderful VR kaiju game features interesting physics-based puzzles and a whole lot of heart. Not only does it bring its VR-first design over to PSVR 2, but it looks incredibly crisp on the new headset. Plus, the game cleverly uses eye tracking on PSVR 2 to allow quick dialogue navigation and menu selection, which is a nice quality of life update. Number 20. Song in the Smoke, Rekindled. We awarded Song in the Smoke the honor of Best PSVR Game in our Best of 2021 awards. Now, Song in the Smoke, Rekindled brings one of VR's best survival games to the next generation on PSVR 2. It features eye-tracked foveated rendering and upgraded visuals, alongside many new features driven by feedback from the original release. Number 19. No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is notorious for its rocky launch in 2016. Since then, however, the game received VR support and a wealth of updates that have turned it into an expansive survival space simulator. Recent updates also overhauled many of the VR mechanics, adding new interaction methods and immersive menus. On PSVR 2, No Man's Sky brings the entire experience across to the next generation. While it does feature some upgraded visuals compared to the original PSVR release, don't expect a shocking makeover. All things considered, the game still isn't the most visually impressive, even on PSVR 2. However, if you want to explore an infinite, endless universe in VR, look no further. No Man's Sky is the perfect fit. Number 18. Zombieland, Headshot Fever Reloaded. The PSVR 2 version of this movie tie-in game significantly improves on the original Quest and PC VR release, featuring an extra story level, 3 new remix levels, additional gun range challenges, new weapons and more. Plus, the adaptive triggers and the Sense controllers and the headset haptics add a little extra in terms of immersion. Yes, the basic gameplay is still the same as the Quest and PC VR release, which isn't particularly ambitious or lengthy. However, the PSVR 2 version features a new cel-shaded art style with new character models and animations, which is a night and day difference to the original. If you're looking for an enjoyable arcade shooter on PSVR 2, this is a good bet. Number 17. Unplugged. Originally available on Quest as a hand-tracking exclusive game, Unplugged on PSVR 2 is a slightly different premise. With no support for hand tracking on Sony's headset, developers Zenith offer the controller-only version on Unplugged on PSVR 2. While this isn't quite as magical as the original concept, it's nonetheless an engaging rhythm game featuring an absolutely stellar lineup of rock tracks to play along to. Yes, without hand tracking it's a little less air guitar and a little more Guitar Hero, but that isn't wholly a bad thing. There's still a fantastic game here for those looking to rock out on PSVR 2. Number 16. The Light Brigade. The Light Brigade is a VR roguelike that merges fantastic gunplay with an interesting world and beautiful environments. Developers Funktronic Labs launched the game on both PSVR 2 and Quest in late February, so while it's not a PSVR 2 exclusive, it was one of the few new releases available at the headset's launch. While we haven't got around to a review of the Light Brigade just yet, we've played enough to know that it's deserving of a spot on the list. You'll journey through a mist-covered world and shoot down enemies with guns that feel meaty and satisfying to use, requiring a level of patience and precision to reach mastery. Runs are split up into smaller areas to clear with a few enemies in each, alongside chests and coins that will grant buffs as you go. Between runs, you can unlock new classes, acquire new weapons or upgrade existing ones, giving you different options depending on your playstyle. For fans of roguelikes, the Light Brigade is definitely one to check out on PSVR 2. Number 15. Star Wars, Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, Enhanced Edition. 2 years after its release on Quest 2, both parts of Tales from the Galaxy's Edge get combined into this new enhanced release on PSVR 2. The resulting package is one that lacks new content but does receive visual upgrades that push it far above its Quest 2 counterpart. It features more detail in character models and environments, with better lighting and a higher level of detail overall. It doesn't sound like much, but it comes together to create a much more immersive experience that Star Wars fans should enjoy.
You made it! All in one piece!
Wonderful.
Number 14. Job Simulator. One of VR's earliest titles and a consistent bestseller on the original PSVR, Job Simulator is still a shining example of excellent VR first design. This is an experience for everyone, easily enjoyed by those fresh to VR or those who are seasoned veterans. Featuring sharp writing and wacky satirical gameplay, Job Simulator performances flawlessly and looks visually crisp on PSVR 2. It's easy to see why it stayed high on the original PSVR charts for so long, and even with many new releases and exclusives since its original debut, this latest PSVR 2 of Job Simulator release remains a solid pick.
Welcome aboard. Just remember these handy tips, and you'll be ready to job.
Number 13. Cities, VR, Enhanced Edition. While the original Quest release felt like a disappointment, Cities VR feels like it's finally living up to its true potential on PSVR 2. Featuring upgraded visuals and an improved UI, this version of the game also features an increased world size, which is 9 times larger compared to Quest 2. Number 12. After the Fall. If you're looking for a Left 4 Dead-like co-op experience on PSVR 2, then After the Fall is a great pick. Vertigo Games launched After the Fall in late 2021, and while we enjoyed it, we also wanted to see more content added to the game over time. Since then, there's been loads of new content added in, including many new maps, weapons and enemies, alongside a horde mode as well. All of those additions are rolled into the PSVR 2 Complete Edition release, which is a fantastic platform to play the game on, thanks to some PSVR 2 specific upgrades. While After the Fall was never an overly stunning game on Quest or the original PSVR, it looks significantly better on PSVR 2 and reaches a pretty impressive level of fidelity. Graphics aside, the Sense controllers are also used to great effect, with great haptics and excellent use of adaptive triggers that makes guns feel fantastic to fire. For some zombie shooting co-op fun, After the Fall is a great option on PSVR 2. Number 11. What the Bat? What the Bat? Was easily one of the best indie VR releases of 2022, so much so that we awarded it the title of our VR Game of the Year. On PSVR 2, the game remains as engaging and hilarious as ever. It's dipping in charm and creativity, placing you in a bunch of scenarios where you're given a pair of baseball bat hands and tasked with doing almost anything besides actually playing baseball. It's a deceptively complex game that begs to be shown to family and friends who might be interested in VR. With spectator mode on the TV, PSVR 2 is the perfect fit to play What the Bat? With a room for friends, passing the headset from person to person. Number 10. Moss, Book I and Book 2. So yes, technically these are two separate games. We're slightly cheating by combining them here, but to be fair, they are two releases that form one larger story and are both fairly similar in terms of gameplay. The original Moss, now known as Moss, Book I, released on the original PSVR and has since made its way across many VR platforms and headsets. Its sequel, Moss, Book 2, released last year, expanding on the platforming concepts of the original in some places and continuing on threads from the first game. Together, they form a wonderful VR platforming experience and feature PSVR 2 specific upgrades, such as subtle uses of eye tracking and improved visuals compared to the original releases. Book I and Book 2 are both available on PSVR 2, either in a bundle or purchased separately.
The impossible.
Number 9. Pavlov. Pavlov has long been a favorite among PC VR players, but now it's also available on PSVR 2. The game is a VR first-person shooter experience modeled after Counter-Strike. That means that while it does have limited offline single-player modes, it's best experienced online with its variety of team-based FPS game modes. Pavlov is a shooter based around precision, balancing itself between realism and engaging gameplay mechanics. The guns feel fantastic to use, and playing online with friends will be your best bet for ongoing entertainment. There's little in the way of progression, nor is there any kind of true campaign to work through. Unlike Pavlov's Shack on Quest, which brings a light version of the game to standalone hardware, Pavlov brings the full PC VR experience to PSVR 2, with support for crossplay with PC players as well. The only missing part is the mod support available on PC VR, meaning that the current game modes are the extent of what you'll be playing. Number 8. The Dark Pictures, Switchback VR. Another PSVR 2 exclusive, this release from Supermassive Games sees you take part in some arcade shooter gameplay while traveling aboard a horror-themed roller coaster. You'll play through several scary scenarios, with a plethora of villains and jump scares to keep you on the edge of your seat. It features entertaining, arcade gun mechanics reminiscent of the House of the Dead, alongside some fantastic horror theme park scenarios that feel ripped out of a dark version of Disneyland. While it's not the most visually impressive title on the list, nor is it the longest campaign ever, it's nonetheless an engaging horror shooter with fantastic enemy designs and some brilliant settings. It's also worth noting that some users have reported graphical issues and blurriness since launch, which Supermassive Games recently acknowledged. The studios is working on the issues, which seemingly only affect some users.
Let's play a little more.
Number 7. Kayak VR, Mirage. Kayak VR is a quiet highlight of the PSVR 2 launch lineup, offering a stunning visual presentation and a relaxing experience across locations: 4 locations, Papagayo, Antarctica, Yornoya, and Australia. There's a competitive multiplayer mode, but it's free roam where the game shines, allowing you to sit back, relax and enjoy the view. It may not feature a fully fledged campaign or an extensive selection of game modes, but Kayak VR is one of the most relaxing VR experiences available on the platform and a joy to look at from every angle. Number 6. Pistol Whip. Pistol Whip is one of VR's longest-running and well-updated games across all platforms. Luckily, it shines on PSVR 2, looking fantastic and taking advantage of PSVR 2's unique features such as adaptive triggers and the Sense controllers, which gives you a more realistic firing experience. Headset haptics on PSVR 2 also add to the immersion, letting you truly feel each time you get shot and giving those moments a much greater sense of impact. For those who aren't aware, Pistol Whip is the beautiful intersection between rhythm games, super hot-like action and Matrix-style cinematic flair. You'll move along on rail scenes with enemies popping up to a pumping soundtrack. Your task is not just to shoot the enemies as they approach, but do so in time with the beat of the music. It's a fantastic concept, and developers Cloudhead Games continue to expand the game with numerous free content updates and expansions, making it a great option for PSVR 2 players. Number 5. Before Your Eyes. Before Your Eyes is a tragic yet beautiful narrative experience, with the VR version available exclusively on PSVR 2. It's a unique 90-minute story, with an eye-tracking mechanic that is unlike any other use of the technology. You're transported back into the memories of the protagonist Benny, experiencing them from his first-person perspective as they happen. The catch is that every time you blink, the story moves forward. Sometimes it's just a moment, sometimes it's a jump forward a few years into the future. What follows is a unique, compelling and innovative VR experience that demonstrates how the medium can tell stories that movies, games and other media can't. Plus, it's a controller-free experience and very little artificial movement, making it an accessible experience to almost anyone.
Something so terrible, you're trying to blink right past it. Now, the next time that you blink, I'm gonna send you back. And just try to enjoy it this time.
Number 4. Demeo. Demeo, the tabletop dungeon crawler RPG from Resolution Games, remains one of the best social VR games across all platforms, and its PSVR 2 release is up there with the best. Not only does the game support cross-platform play, so you can team up with players on Quest or PC VR, but it also looks better than ever on PSVR 2. There's no jagged edges to be seen and the game looks better than ever, thanks to the PSVR 2's OLED display with HDR support, allowing for much deeper blacks than you'll get on a headset like Quest 2. With several expansions available since release, Demeo offers players a wealth of content and an engaging social experience among the best that VR has to offer. On PSVR 2, it's the best non-exclusive release so far. On PS5, you also have the option to play flat screen as well, the best of both worlds.
As I'm back, there will be no Raka. Only me.
Number 3. Gran Turismo 7. Gran Turismo 7 is one of the most potent racing sims to ever grace VR, and it's available exclusively for PSVR 2. While the menus display on a flat screen and headset, the races and gameplay itself will take place in full, immersive VR. It's a sight to behold. Not only is the game stunning, but offers fantastic racing simulation with various levels of difficulty and a full campaign and many other modes, all available in VR. For racing fans, this is an absolute must. Number 2. Resident Evil Village. Village marks the second mainline Resident Evil game to get VR support, after Biohazard launched with PSVR support in 2017. Much like Biohazard, Village is a phenomenal launch title for PSVR 2 and an amazing horror shooter with a fully fledged campaign that is captivating from start to finish. It's particularly impressive given that the game was designed for flat-screen platforms first, however that also means that it features sequences that might be fairly intense for new VR users. Expect your head and field of view to be quickly repositioned, shoved and moved around without notice. Nonetheless, the well-paced campaign, gorgeous visuals and engaging gunplay make Resident Evil Village easily one of the best experiences on PSVR 2 right now.
No way!
Number 1. Horizon Call of the Mountain. It's a tough call to pick a number 1 on this list, but Horizon just edges out the other to take the top spot. This PSVR 2 exclusive is one of the most visually stunning and dense VR experiences available, with some stunning environments that feature a level of detail rivaling Half-Life, Alyx. While the gameplay isn't necessarily revelatory for VR, it is nonetheless incredibly polished and a stunning experience to behold in headsets. For any PSVR 2 owner, Horizon Call of the Mountain is a must-have.
Find out why the machines are attacking. And you shall be a free man.
Get away from me! Come on! This in history class! No!